Hello guys, and we're here today with another very interesting deck profile. We have here today some Herald of Perfection. Yes, we have a Herald of Perfection deck because I'm in denial. I do not think Cosmos exist. I do not think Monarchs exist. No, Draco Palace don't exist either. The meta does not exist, so I'm going over some more rogue decks and more casual decks right now for fun. Because isn't that what this game is supposed to be about? Having fun? Anyways, so let's just go straight into the deck profile. I do want to mention that I pretty much got this deck from Analyth Yo. Do check out his channel. But I made some adjustments to the deck. He was running Royal Decree. I felt Royal Decree was pretty weak against Twin Twister, and I thought Twin Twister would just be a tiny bit faster. And then I felt Call the Haunted would really benefit the Star Seraph engine, which I got from him. So, one Archlord Christia. If you can get out Herald of Perfection, have like 3 cards, 3 fairies in hand, and then drop a Christia, your opponent lost. It's just game loss for your opponent because they can't special summon at this point. Actually, you should have probably 4 cards in your hand. It depends on how many cards your opponent has. So your opponent cannot special summon, and you get to negate hopefully 3 cards of your opponent. So yeah, unless they have a counter trap, strikes very, very annoying against this deck. Which is why Decree is a thing to think about, because anything that is not a counter trap, alright, that's good. We can deal with it, but anything that is a counter trap can really hurt Herald of Perfection. But Archlord Christia, just a great card, being able to add back a fairy type monster from your graveyard, and of course if it leaves the field it goes to the top of the deck instead of the graveyard. So for the Seraph engine, this is honestly a pretty powerful engine, just being able to pump out 3 material XYZs such as Deltros and all its draw power, with Scepter being able to search Sovereignty, and then Sovereignty will summon himself when you summon a Star Seraph monster such as Scepter or himself, and then you draw a card. And if it's a Star Seraph monster, no, oh my god guys, why do I always have to sneeze when I make videos? He will summon himself out and then draw a card, and then if it's a Star Seraph monster, you can summon out that guy. And Star Seraph Scepter can get off its effect more than once per turn, which is amazing. Which is really amazing. But do note that if you XYZ summon with Star Seraph Scepter, the effect that the XZ monster gets to target one other card on the field and destroy it, you can only get that effect one. So if you XYZ with all 3 of these, you only get to pop 1 card and draw 1 card. You won't be able to pop 3 and draw 3. So don't think it works like that. It only allows you to pop 1. And then Manju of the 10,000 Hands will allow us to search out a ritual monster, ritual spell. I highly recommend searching out the ritual monsters because pre-prep won't work if you don't have a ritual spell card in your deck or a ritual monster, but I'll get onto pre-prep when we get to pre-prep. Double Honest because it's a great fairy monster. You can use it for Herald of Perfection if you need to, or just like if you have Honest in your hand, it might not be a bad idea to put Herald of Perfection in attack position, because sometimes it's really annoying when they do pump out the monster that has 2850 or 3000 if you're going up against Blue Eyes. So this is just a great way to protect your monster. Maxi, this is a card that Analyth Yo was not running. I feel like you should be running this because, I mean, only 1 Christia, so you might not see it a lot, and you have to have exactly 4 fairies in your graveyard. So your opponent will be special summoned. It's more consistency, and once you get Herald of Perfection out, all of your monsters in your hand become a hand trap. Pretty much. So, alright, you're gonna activate a spell that special summons, I'll let that go, but I'll draw a card, so if you activate something that is kind of bad, I can negate it. And so, I feel it really helps out. The second thing that I like about Maxi is its level. It's level 2. Because we're using Dawn of the Herald, it has to exactly equal 6. So of course you can't use 2 Manjus or Manju and Star Seraph or whatever. You have to use Manju in either Herald of Orange Light or Maxi, and so that makes it a little bit easier. And with Dawn of the Herald, when you ritual summon the monster, it banishes itself. This card, Dawn of the Herald, will banish itself, and then you can add back one of the monsters you tributed for the tribute summon, so you can add back either Maxi or Manju to your hand. So if you have yet to normal summon, or you just want to have a fairy in your hand, you can get Manju back, or you can get Maxi back, and then be like, alright, I have Maxi, so if they try to do any special summoning, I can draw cards and be able to negate cards. And then of course Herald of Orange Light. I like Herald of Orange Light because it allows for some synchro plays because it's a level 2 tuner. Also, it allows you to negate monster effects by sending another fairy from your hand to your graveyard, which isn't the worst thing in the world to do. But of course it's even better if you have Herald of Perfection out, because then you only have to ditch it. But it being the level 2 tuner does allow for level 6, and if you really want to, level 10 synchro plays, and being able to negate a monster effect is definitely very useful. Now onto the ritual monsters themselves. So we're running Saphira, Queen of Dragons. This is a pretty good ritual because every time you send a light monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, you can activate one of these effects during the end phase. Draw 2 cards, discard 1, so more draw power. Discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand. Not used all that often, but can be very useful. Add 1 light monster from your graveyard to your hand. If I have an Honest in my graveyard, I will use that unless I already have an Honest in my hand. But being able to add an Honest back is definitely very useful because it just pretty much means you can attack over whatever, and your opponent really can't attack because they know you have Honest. And so she's really great to summon out first. Unfortunately, she is a dragon, so you can't ditch her for Herald of Perfection. But summoning her out first or whenever you can, it just allows for a bigger field and more combos. Just that extra draw power, that extra 1 card during the end phase, or that adding back the key monsters such as maybe a Scepter or a Sovereignty. And so it allows for a lot of different combos. And then of course we have Herald of Perfection. During either player's turn, when an opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, send 1 favorite 10 monster from your hand to graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So definitely very powerful, being able to negate anything that is not a counter, trap, or spell, be it 3 or a continuous effect. And then Instant Fusion, we're running 2 because we want to see it, but of course we're only running 1 Norden, so one of them will be dead. If you want to put in TER, go ahead. I just didn't feel like I had room for the deck, but there is. Like, I mean, I'm playing 2 Deltaros, I'm playing 2 Fairy Chill Girl, and 2 Tsukiyomi, so there's definitely room. Pre-Preparation Rite is such an amazing card. I do want to get onto a ruling thing with this card. If you do not have a ritual monster in your deck or your graveyard, you cannot use it. Originally I thought you could use it and just search out the spell, but you can't. So if you have 2 Herald of Perfections in your hand, you open up with them, you cannot search out Dawn of the Herald. You will be able to search out Hymn of Blessing and Saphira, and unless of course you open up with 2 Saphira and 2 Herald of Perfection, unless you can get them into the graveyard, which shouldn't be that difficult to get into the graveyard. So being able to search out a ritual spell and then ritual monster is just really great. Allows for much more faster plays, and then along with that we also have the Preparation of Rites. Which one you want to use first is kind of debatable. I'd probably say use Preparation of Rites first. I mean, being able to add the spell card to your hand is definitely very useful, but I'd activate Preparation of Rites first and then go for Pre-Preparation of Rites. It depends on what you really need, because Prep will only get you 1 card unless, of course, you have these guys in your graveyard. But Pre-Prep will get you 2 cards. And then, of course, we have Soul Charge to go along with our Star Sails and our Morden and everything. And of course, you can summon out Herald of Perfection and Saphira if you properly ritual summon them. So a lot of combos with that. And then the 1 upstart, 39 card deck, why not? Now onto the ritual spell cards. Now the Herald, like I said, it has to exactly equal 6. And when the ritual summon happens, you banish this card and then target 1 of the monsters that was distributed and add it to your hand. So that means you could summon, and I like doing this, and you guys will see this in the replays, using Dawn of the Herald and Herald of Perfection, using Dragon Prince. I don't know why I keep on saying the OCG name. Saphira, and then tribute the Saphira, summon out Herald of Perfection, 1 card for the tribute summon, and then banish this, add this Saphira back to hand. So you pretty much summon them out for nothing. So definitely a very good combo. Of course, using these guys, using Maxi and Manju or Herald of Ownflight and Manju, it's definitely very good. And then Hymn of Blessing, 6 or more, so you can use the 2 Manjus or the 2 Star Sails or whatever, and makes it very easy. If a ritual monster you control would be destroyed by battle by card effect, banish this card instead. So definitely a very great card to protect your Herald of Perfections or your Saphiras. Can pretty much guarantee that Saphira will last at least 1 turn, so you should be able to get off her effect twice. 1 of her effects off twice, so that's definitely very, very useful and very strong. And then of course we have double Twin Twister. Like I said, I didn't feel the double Decree was really strong because it would just Twin Twister is such a big card in the game right now that I felt it would just be blown away, and so I felt that Twin Twister would be a little bit better. There are a lot of great discards in this deck actually. Herald of Orange Light is a great, so that one you can get it in the graveyard. Getting a Star Seraph monster such as Scepter into the graveyard can actually be pretty good. so that way you can use Call the Haunted, or just getting Herald of Perfection or one of the Dragon, or Saphira, not Dragon Princess, this is a TCJ, into the graveyard isn't the worst thing in the world because you can always add it back to your hand with pre-prep. And then Call the Haunted, it's pretty much here just for our Star Seraphs, but of course if Herald of Perfection or Saphira leaves the field, you can use Call the Haunted to summon them back out, but mainly for these guys, so that way you can summon it, search, it leaves the field, Call the Haunted, summon, search, summon, summon. You just drew 2 cards, and you're gonna draw a 3rd card off of your Deltaros when you XZ summon. So definitely a strong place. Definitely a strong place. And that is it for the main deck. It's a pretty fun deck. I actually enjoyed this. It did a lot better than what I thought it would do. It has a lot of offensive plays with the Star Seraphs, a lot of consistency plays, and I mean, as you can see, we're running a lot of draw power in this extra deck. So into the extra deck we go with Norden. Of course, allows us to make some more level Ring Force, and it is a fairy, so you can use it for Fairy Cheer Girl if you want to have that extra consistency and just be able to draw more cards. For our level 6 synchros, I'm not running any 10, but for level 6 we're running the Go-Yo Guardian. I saw no reason why not. If our opponent had a monster and I really wanted it, Go-Yo Guardian. Stardust Charge Warrior, definitely a very interesting card. There's another level 6. This card, when it's synchro summoned, you draw 1 card, so more consistency. There's another card that's OCG right now. It's like Coral Dragon or something like that. When it's sent to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. But I'd run that over this because it also has the effect that you can ditch any number of spell trap cards and then ditch any number of cards from your hand and bounce spell trap cards your opponent controls. So I'd rather run that over this, but unfortunately that's still OCG. And then of course we have Utopia the Lightning to go along with our Utopia, double Deltaros. If you XYZ summon Deltaros with this guy and you use this guy's effect to pop a card, your opponent cannot respond, so it's a free Night Beam, free, just get rid of 1 card, your opponent cannot respond, and you get a draw card. And then you get to pop another card. Dark Rebellion is just Dark Rebellion, just being able to have attack. 101, Castel, removal cards of course. And then Fairy Cheer Girl, detach 1 XYZ, material, draw 1 card, only be used once per turn, but nonetheless, if you want to draw an extra card, very useful. And then there's Bujinti Tsukiyomi, detach 1 XYZ material from this card, send your entire hand to graveyard, draw 2 cards. So definitely very, very strong. It requires 2 level 4 lights, so that's pretty much any of our little lights monsters. And being able to just, I kind of want to say it's very similar to Saphira's effect, except you discard first and then draw. Well, hers is draw first, then discard. So a lot of draw power, as you can see. I only played this deck in singles, of course. I don't really play matches except for a couple of decks. So I can't say how this would do at a regionals, but I'd also question why you would even take this deck to regionals. But you could also put Consecrated Light into the side deck, and that would make it very annoying. Especially against the Burning Abyss matchup where they can't summon anything that isn't dark. So if you guys enjoyed this deck profile, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.